In this video I'm going to give a rundown on why I teach the way that I do. So there's a definite reason why I do the work in a drill type atmosphere where we learn different stages of swing and learn how to push it together or piece it together as we go. The swing's really tough to learn as, trying to do it all at once. We need to really find the dynamics of certain areas because they are going to lead us to something else, and something else that's come before is going to lead us to that also. So I do it in a little bit different fashion than most would. So let's run through the biggest pitfalls that I see with golfers and why I'm trying to solve their issues. For the most part, a lot of the poorer golfers will try and create all their speed up here. And what happens is that puts a lot of stress on the shaft and it tends to uncock the wrists, which pulls the body forward and all that. So what they're doing in effect is creating speed and then trying to align that onto the ball. So they're creating speed, but they're actually decreasing speed at the same time, because once you reach a power source up here and have to try and align it, it's actually slowing down even though it feels fast. So what we're really trying to do is create a little bit more of a loading condition here and then the hit later. And obviously a late hit's a great thing for the golf swing because there's nothing stopping to let something else catch up. So one of the first things that I teach would be get someone to get used to forearm range and wrist range, because the essence of that is a late hit, and that's what the best golfers exhibited. They had an opportunity to do it because in the past the clubs are a little bit heavier, so it really made them a bit stronger in this region of their arms. A lighter club, you don't really feel it as much, and you'll tend to throw the club around, more with the arms. So a heavier club allowed them to really feel the body a little bit more. So, there's nothing wrong with weight in a golf club. It doesn't have to be a sledgehammer, but just so long as there's something you can feel. Because it's really going to help you move better. It's also going to help, with the strike of a little bit of weight on the ball. It is not that bad a thing, but it's definitely going to help with the swing because it's going to delay the hit. When we can feel the club, we're going to tend to load it and then use it. If we also think of that, the golf swing, it's not up and down. There's a definite arc to the golf swing. So if we can have forearm range, wrist range, the club releases and then we start to turn. So we get the roundness of the swing that we really need. That's an arc. The ball gets caught in the middle of that arc. So what we want to do is we don't want to create speed here. As we can see, that basically just throws the wrist away, and as the wrist uncock, the body tends to get pulled. So the body stops, the hands overtake, and we start chasing. So we don't want to disrupt this club face as we hit the ball. It seems strange because we're looking at it from this way that we should swing around in a circle. Most people will say, well, that's harder to align, but it's not. If you envision how a revolving door shuts, it just works on its hinges. So that's really what's going on, and we want the whole body to be involved. So forearm range combined with wrist range is body range, and the more the club is behind us, the more we'll feel our legs and our feet. When we're coming down this way, we'll tend to get toeward, body will back up to balance against that. There's a lot of funny things going on, so this is why I promote a more rounded golf swing. Not that I'm living in the past, it's not that I want to be different, it's what works best, it's what's easiest to maintain and control because we're swinging around our whole centre, right here. Centre is our middle of the golf swing. This is where we control everything. Not the head. Head can move, all that stuff. The centre. So if I can keep that club working with my centre, this club face is not going to change as much, and that's the key. And of course, this is where we create speed, just like the martial arts people, kung fu, judo, they really use the ground and they create their speed from this portion of their body, and that's what we want to do. So what we're after is a hit, but a hit that gets overtaken with the body. So we don't want to hit here and then have to stop. That's where we'll see a lot of the roll over, the arm get pulled away from the body, and the club face sort of tends to chase down the line and close. So that's really happening, even though we see it here, it's really happening around the ball, and that's why a lot of people that do that have a tendency to have a two-way miss, because that face, the timing of trying to release that onto the ball can point the club in all different directions, because the low point of a strike gets compromised because we're slowing to try and get the low point as opposed to accelerating through and down to get a low point without even trying. The first thing that I teach everyone is to learn how to rotate the club via the forearms. And there's a real trick to that not many people understand. Just like a baseballer is up here, as they rotate the bat, they're using their forearms to do it. Because their arms stay close, it puts a pull into their body. And you see a lot of batters hit the ball like that. And that's what we're trying to do with golf. So we want to stay as tight as we can. What that does, still keeps the butt of the club pointing at my centre. We know the centre is speed. If I do that, that club is pointing more up here. I can't really turn my body as much, so that's why we see that. The more in line, the faster I can move it. More in line, the less roll of the club face. So the forearm rotation that no one really understands too much of, because you don't feel it when it's happening. It happens, but you don't really feel it because so much other force is going on. The legs want to go that way, the body's want to pull that way. You need the forearm range to resist all that, and then it unwinds. So you don't even have to try to do it, but you've got to have the strength in the wrists and the forearms to be able to do it, and then it just happens. So it's not a try thing. And it's again one of the reasons why I said a lot of the good golfers of the past especially had big forearms, because they utilised them in this manner. So what happens if we can use our forearms, the down swing becomes less important. Arnold Palmer and Bobby Jones and a few other people came a little bit, even Snead, a little bit more up here. But what happens is they've got forearm range, wrist range, so the club is still behind them. And if I just really exaggerate this, not that I would ever swing from out here, but that's forearm range, wrist range. And as soon as I rotate my forearms, pats my arms back in. And that's what we're after. By coming down on plane like people want to try to do, you eliminate all your forearm range, so you can't do anything but uncock the club with your hands. Here we uncock our wrists or our hands by rotation. And then if I do it well and my arm's getting tighter, now I can't use them over here. So my body overtakes and we get that real circular arc that we talked about. So that's the method that I would try and get people to work towards. It takes a little bit of work because it's very off the charts to what we've been told the last 25 years. But if we look at and analyse a lot of the great golf swings we admire from the past, they were very much closer to what I'm talking about here. So that's why I do it. I've tested all this under tournament conditions, playing, on the range, all types of things over the last 30, 40 years. I know I played my best when I was closer to doing this. The other way was much more difficult, to try and point the butt of the club at the ball and time that. It was next to impossible week in, week out, day in, day out. So that's just one fluid motion. It's dynamic, everything's moving. This is more pull down, stop. Once your body stops, the hands overtake. You see a whole lot of different finishes and